YouTube, it's Ashley 3G. Just wanted to do a quick video. I'm here on vacation, so I have a little bit more time to do stuff like this. But I have been using the Galaxy S3 for a little bit now, and I've created a little list kind of since day one on what I like and what I don't like, especially as compared with the iPhone 4S. So I'm going to be kind of reading off that list, and these are actually the initial things that you would notice about the phone, from pulling it out of the box to the very basic features of a phone and things that people use most often. So I haven't quite gotten into every single thing the Galaxy S3 can do. It is kind of, I don't want to use the word novelty, but there are a lot of features that are not on other phones yet, so I don't really know how they'll translate into real world interaction and like how much people will use these features. And I haven't used them yet. So I'm not going to be getting into those. But I will be getting into the basic things that these smartphones should be doing on a daily basis and how it's working. So thanks for watching. I'll read that list off to you coming up next. I hope you enjoy it. This has been Ashley 3G. Thanks for watching. Hey YouTube, it's Ashley 3G, and like I said, I was going to do a little comparison or likes and dislikes of the Galaxy S3, especially as compared to the iPhone 4S, because that's what I got the phone for in the first place. The first thing that kind of bothered me about the Galaxy S3, we'll go ahead and unlock it here, is that a lot of times in emails, the email will not come up displaying as it should, like full screen. Like it comes up and you have to swipe over to see the whole thing. It just doesn't fit to screen automatically. And so here's the first example I got of that. There's a free appetizer email or whatever here. So you open it and you have to kind of scroll, and then you can scroll over, and to kind of read the whole thing you have to do that. On the iPhone, I'm just used to opening that same email and it fitting to the screen. So I'll show you that as well. Got to find the email here. Let's see. There it is. Okay, so I opened it, and there's no scrolling except for up and down. Let me open it back up. Except for up and down. You don't have to scroll over, and it just fits to the screen. And I like that it just works that way, as opposed to the Galaxy S3. So that's the first thing that I kind of picked up on, and that's the first note that I wrote. Now, there were a lot of complaints about S-Voice, which is the competitor to Siri on the iPhone, and I've got to tell you, to be really honest, the first time I ever used S-Voice, it just worked for me. I told it to call a phone number, so I said call area code blah blah blah, and then I said a number, and it called that number, so it worked very well. I was very, very surprised that it did that. I think I was in my car driving down the road when I told it to do that, so that was really impressive, and I thought S-Voice is going to be a great thing. Now, if you own an Apple iPhone, you know a lot of times Siri doesn't pick up on what you're saying. It can be kind of frustrating. A lot of times she does, a lot of times she doesn't. So initially I was very, very impressed with S-Voice, but after that time, S-Voice has really not picked up on a whole lot of what I've said, so I'm going to do a little demo here. This is live. I haven't really tried this particular request before. We'll go ahead and start with the iPhone, so I'm just going to say, let's see. Tell me some nearby pizza restaurants. So here we see Siri's thinking.
Checking your location.
She knew exactly what I said. You can tell by the text there.
I found 15 pizza restaurants fairly close to you.
Okay, so she found some nearby pizza restaurants, which is exactly what I wanted. And I'm going to say the same thing to the Galaxy S3. Tell me some nearby pizza restaurants. Okay. She didn't get exactly.
Here's a list of places I found in. Tell me about pizza restaurants.
Okay, so she didn't get exactly what I said, but she did hear tell me about pizza restaurants. So you gotta give her props for that. Not too bad. Let's try something else. How's the weather look today?
Here's the forecast for today.
Okay, so flawless. It brings up a forecast. And let's try with S-Voice. How does the weather look today? Okay, so it says how the weather like today. it didn't get exactly what I said, and it's still thinking about how the weather might be today. So we'll give it another second before we give up on it.
No weather results. Sorry.
Okay, so no weather results, sorry. And that's kind of disappointing because at least Siri always gets the weather right. Again, I'm sure they both have their ups and downs as far as the voice recognition goes, but if I had to pick one, I would go with the iPhone. The iPhone mostly gets what you're saying right, and the only problem I have with Siri is that even if she gets what I'm saying right, she doesn't always know the answer. So at least she always knows what I'm saying. On the Galaxy S3, doesn't really pick up what you're saying, kind of guesses at what you're saying and then pulls up some results that way. So not entirely impressed with that, but I had read reviews before, so I wasn't really surprised by that. Okay, next thing I noticed, speakerphone on the Galaxy S3 is awesome. I accidentally had the settings on speakerphone when I called someone the other day. Second phone call I ever made on the device, and it was so crystal clear. Like, the person on the other end even said, "You're on speakerphone," like you really couldn't tell. So a very good feature on the Galaxy S3 is the quality of speakerphone. If you care about that, I don't know, but I definitely liked it. Almost would say it's better than the iPhone. I don't use speakerphone a whole lot though, so do with that what you will. The next thing that is very minor and kind of stupid, and most people won't even appreciate this, but I do remember when they were creating the iPhone, or the iPhone 4 I believe it was, and they had the shortage of the white iPhone, and you couldn't get one for the longest time, so most people had a black one. And at one point the rumor was that they were trying to perfect the coloring of the white of the iPhone. They didn't want it to be like a cream color. And the first night that I had the phone, and side by side here in the video you can't really tell, but in person you can. The white isn't the sharpest white ever on the S3, and it just is, it's just a pure white on the iPhone. And so little things like that, a lot of people don't think they matter. I sort of think, like, I appreciate that someone cared enough to put the effort forth to make sure that they could get that white, the best white that they could. And this is kind of like an off cream color. But again, that's a really crazy thing that I'm telling you about, and most people wouldn't care. I do care. The white on the iPhone 4S is a whole lot, it stands out a whole lot more, it pops out. So there you go with that. On the Galaxy S3, now they never said the Galaxy S3 had a Retina display. It is beautiful because look at it. I mean, the display is simply so much larger than this phone so that you cannot help but like it. I prefer it. I'm going to be honest with you. I prefer looking at this screen. But if you're picky, and I am picky, you can absolutely see the pixels on the screen. You can see that there are pixels there. This is not a Retina display by any means. And a lot of the games, a lot of the app icons and everything like that, you can see that the quality of them is just not there with the iPhone 4S. So on that, I would side with the iPhone 4S. Again, another note that I made kind of along the same lines is that the screen size on this is so likable. You do get enveloped in what you're doing. It's kind of like using an iPad in a sense, that you just get drawn right into whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're on Twitter or the internet or whatever, just because the screen is so big. And it really is a pleasure to use, even if it doesn't have that Retina display, and even if sometimes you're looking for pixels and can find them. Swipe texting. Now this is pretty dang awesome. I will say that. So you're going to make a text, and you're going to send a text to someone. And if you've only used the iPhone and you've never heard of swipe texting, then I'm going to give you a little example. I'm going to say, "Hey, how's it going?" So all you have to do with swipe texting is start with the letter that you intend to start with. So I'm going to say, "Hey," it would be H-E-Y. So you put your finger on the H, you drag it to the E, you drag it to the Y. Well, okay, let's do this again. So you're going to start with an H, put your finger on the H, drag it to the E, drag it to the Y. You got the word "hey" up there. And then you want to say, "How's it going?" Same principle. How's it going? And it just types it for you. And I've played with this a whole lot. Big words, small words, words that you think it wouldn't pick up, it does. You can swipe so carelessly. You don't have to be so precise. Let's say I'm going to go see a ballet tonight. So I'm gonna go see a ballet tonight. Okay, and it types the word valley instead of ballet. The V is right by the B, so I should have been a little more careful with that. Let's try the word ballet again. So B-A-L-L-E-T. That time it picks it up. It really is spot on. Of course, always when you're in an example, things are going to mess up. But I do enjoy swipe texting, and that is something that I will really miss if I let go of this phone. If I miss one thing, it will be swipe texting. I so hope the iPhone gets it in some capacity. I don't know about people who jailbreak or whatever. Perhaps they might already have swipe texting on the iPhone, but that is a cool feature of these Android phones, and I know a lot of them do have that capacity. This phone is fairly intuitive. You know, it's taken me about 5 days, and that's with minimal use over several of those days, but it's fairly intuitive. Like, you know, you swipe through the different pages of your home screens, and you can hold an app and you can kind of move it wherever you want to move it and whatnot. Some of it is not as intuitive, but that's just because I've been using iOS so long, so I'm going to be fair with that and say you can get used to it. Several times I've actually had to look up how-tos on YouTube for the Galaxy S3 just to see how to do stuff a little bit faster. And to be honest, they didn't include a user manual with the packaging of this. Like, they gave me a quick start guide and a safety guide, and that was it. So there is a little app that says device help here that's been pretty helpful in getting things started, but not nearly as I would have preferred like a paper manual that I could have flipped through just to see how to do some of the cool features that they advertised with the Galaxy S3. So, moving on, I did an unboxing and I saw that Samsung included with the phone a white headset, and I kind of wish almost that they did a gray or a black. And this is another one of those stupid, crazy, anal things that I care about, but it seems to me like Apple kind of started the whole white earbud thing, and they had them in the commercials, and you know, it just stood out so much, and for a long time everyone was rocking the white cord, you know, the earbuds, and that was a statement that you had an Apple product on and whatnot. So that kind of bothered me just a little bit, but that's neither here nor there. It was just pretty Apple-esque to me, and it rubbed me the wrong way, but you know, most people would not care about that. Another thing that bothered me that I kind of noticed about the phone, alright, on this side, right here, you have the volume rocker. And on this side, you have the lock button. Okay, so what happens when you're naturally holding the phone is that if you want to push the volume rocker, you put a little bit of pressure here, but you're also putting pressure exactly where the lock button is, so you're locking the phone. If you're wanting to lock the phone, you're pushing the volume rocker, because they oppose each other, and you push them at the same time, and it's always by accident. So that really bothers me. On the Apple iPhone, if you're messing with the volume and putting pressure on both sides, you've got volume here, other side there's nothing. You can push as hard as you want, you're only messing with the volume. The lock button's on top. I think it works best that way. Let's see. Another thing, when I'm listening to stuff and I'm getting output from the speaker, I'm kind of looking directly at my phone to see what's being played or whatever, and the speaker is directly on the back. So whatever you're listening to is going to the party across from you instead of to you per se. And on the iPhone, I know that the speaker's not on the back, it's actually on the bottom here. So at least, at the very least, it's kind of going down and maybe towards you instead of to the opposing side. So I did notice that, another minor thing. Let's see. On the internet, scrolling is a little bit jumpy. So let's just go to a web page here. We'll try apple.com. Maybe that is not the most appropriate thing. Let's try mtv.com. Go. Okay, so it's pulling up mtv.com, and we want to scroll down the whole page and kind of see what's going on. So scrolling. That's pretty fluid actually, like it does scroll pretty fast. Let's try something else because I did see that it was very jumpy. Let's try the USA Today app. So I have that on both phones. So scrolling, not too bad actually. Of course in the demo it's going to work fluidly. Let's try one more website and then I'll tell you that that wasn't a fair statement. So let's try nationalgeographic.com. Alright, so it pulls up nationalgeographic.com slowly, and we scroll, and there's not really much to scroll with. So in the example that I'm doing in the video, it's working just fine. I'm not going to leave this part out of the video, even though I did note that scrolling was very laggy on the S3 as compared to the iPhone 4S. In the video it works, so let's be fair and say that it's a tie. Scrolling, if you have an iPhone, on the iPhone is really very nice, and I prefer it. And let's see if I have anything else. The data usage tool on the Galaxy S3 is really awesome. So you go into your settings, data usage, and you can set a mobile data limit, so whatever your limit might be. Mine's 3 gigs, so I set it at that, and that's the red bar going across the top here. I want it to warn me when I get to 2 gigs. And then down here it kind of shows me where I've wasted most of my data usage. So Google Play Music, Google Play Store, Internet, Twitter, Speed Test, Maps, Foursquare, and so on. And you can kind of see what's sucking out your resources. And I don't have that ability on my iPhone, although I do have an unlimited data plan on the iPhone, so I don't really care. But it's really nice to kind of see where your data is going on the phone, and I like how it lays it out and statistically does that. Speaking of this, the Google Play Music. I don't have any music on this thing just because obviously I use iTunes all the time, and I haven't gotten into wanting to move my music over. But I did find Google Play. Okay, so here's the Google Play Store. Not as intuitive as I thought it would be. Let's go ahead and get to the home screen of that so you just can see what it's like. So you have on this side apps, music, magazines, books, movies and TV, and just a whole lot of advertisements on stuff. Okay, so I get to the section where the music is, and it says free music. You can download all this free music. I was on the road for several hours, so I thought, why not? So I downloaded like maybe 10 songs from free music sections in Google Play. And then I went in to play them and had no idea it was streaming from Google Play. So it used up a whole lot of my data because it was a streaming music service. So I kind of prefer iTunes right now, but again, to be fair, I've only used Google Play Store a couple of times, mostly to download my favorite apps and not for music. So I'm still experimenting with that, and I won't be totally unfair in saying that Google Play Store is not as good as iTunes, but right now I'm kind of leaning that way. Anyway, this video has been extremely long. This has just been my experience so far with the Galaxy S3. I hope that this has taught you at least something that you didn't know, especially if you just have an iPhone and you're wondering about the Galaxy S3. If you want me to be completely honest, and I think you do, just holding the two phones in my hands, given the fact that I've had this phone for 5 days, let's be fair, and then I've had this phone for a long time, I still turn this phone on and I still use it for certain things. Even to tweet and do certain things, I prefer it. Like, this is my phone. And I've never been that partial to a phone before. I've always been so ready to jump ship, so ready to try the next thing until the iPhone. So I'm not going to say that this has taken the place of it. It is beautiful to look at, I will say that, even without that Retina display. And I'm still enjoying getting phone calls on it and just having a new phone. But so far, if I had to say, if you put a gun up to my head, I would go iPhone. Definitely go iPhone so far. I'm going to keep trying it out, and I'll keep doing videos to let you know, and eventually we'll come to a conclusion here. But this has been Ashley 3G. Thanks for watching, and keep watching.